الملائكة يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم صلاة وسلاما عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. Now approximately after 12 years, Yusuf alayhi salam is still in a prison one night at the time of the Tahajjud. Now one thing to remember is that disbelievers can also see good dreams through dreams. And the ulama has based that opinion on the highlight of this verse. Now once what happened, the king, he woke up and he was moved by this very unusual dream he saw. So he came down the palace and he had many people around him, the sorcerers who would, in the past, would help him with his kingdom. So he said, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ, the king Rayyan, he came down and said, إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ. First he saw that river Nile dried up. And he saw 7 fat cows coming out from that riverbed. يَأْكُلُهُنَّ سَبٌ عِجَافٍ. And these 7 fat cows were attacked, and then eaten by 7 thin cows. So 7 fat cows came out from the riverbed, and there were 7 thin cows waiting, and they came and attacked and killed the 7 fat cows. And also he saw وَسَبْعَ سُنْبُلَاتٍ خُضْرٍ وَأُخْرَ يَابِسَاتٍ. He saw 7 strands of grain, and they were green, fresh plants. And there were 7 strands, they were dried. And what happened? When those fresh ones, they joined the dried ones, even the fresh ones became dried. This was a dream. Ya ayyuhal mala'u, O my people in the gathering, aftuni fi ru'yaya in kuntum lirru'ya ta'burun. Give me interpretation of my dream if you really are interpretations, or if you know the interpretations of our dreams. Now what happened? The men, when they heard the dream, in the past, they would make up the interpretation of the dreams. But this time, Allah did not allow them to interpret dreams. They did not understand. All adghathu ahlam, they said very confusing dreams. The 7 fat cows emerging from the ground and attacked by 7 thin cows and then eaten by that, and then 7 cones of wheat or barley, whatever it was, and 7 dried ones. So it was very confusing for them. Adghathu ahlam. And then they admitted at the end, وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ. We do not know how to interpret dreams. We do not know. Now what happened? The Mukhallab or Mukhlab, he came and he knew about Yusuf alayhi salam. When he overheard the conversation between the king and his people, he came quickly to the king. وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا, from the 2 prisoners who was freed and released, and went to the king. وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ. He remembered after a long time. He went to the king quickly. He went, أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ. I am going to give you the interpretation of that dream. فَأَرْسِلُونِي, send me. And send me to the prison. Now Mukhlab is going to go to prison 3 times. This is the first time. He's going to meet Yusuf alayhi salam. Now I told you 8 miles away from the palace of the king. So he went quickly running to the prison, and he remembered that he already made a promise to Yusuf alayhi salam that once he's going to return back to the king, he will remind the king about Yusuf alayhi salam. But after 12 years, he remembered. So he apologized. So first he apologized, he explained what happened. Yusuf knew it was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, Yusuf ayyuha siddiq, Yusuf, the most truthful. Your interpretation at the beginning became true. That one of us was executed, I was released, I was freed. Aftina fi sabi, and then he gave the dream. So give us interpretation of a dream. Now he didn't mention who saw the dream. He just said, Aftina fi sabi baqaratin siman, 7 fat cows, ya'kuluhunna 7 ijab, eaten by 7 thin cows, wa sab'i subulatin khudrin, and 7 fresh strands of wheat, wa ukhra yabisat, and 7 dried ones. Why? لَعَلِّي أَرْجِعُ إِلَى النَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ, so that I may return back to the people, so that they act upon this dream. Now Yusuf alayhi salam knew that this is a very important dream, because if the king was not to be informed about the interpretation of his dream, and if they do not act upon the interpretation of the dream, millions of lives would be lost in loss. What was the interpretation? They said, قَالَ تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ دَأَبًا, you're going to harvest, you're going to cultivate the lands for 7 continuous lands, دَأَبًا, one after another. Every piece of land you can find, tell the farmers to grow crops for 7 years. These are the 7 green crops, the dreams. فَمَا حَصَدْتُمْ, whatever you harvest, whatever you grow, whatever you cultivate, فَذَرُوهُ فِي سُنْبُلِهِ, leave it in its pack. Now do you know when you have a wheat, it has an outer layer. Okay, we open the outer layer and then we get the wheat and the barley. So he said, leave it in the skin, the packet. Leave it in the skin. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ, except a little which you're going to eat. And these 7 years, eat little. Don't eat too much. Okay. Then he said, ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ سَبْعٌ شِدَادٌ. After these 7 years of rain and cultivation and fertile, what will happen? 7 shidad, severe years will come. I.e. drought, famine. Not a drop of rain will fall on the earth. Severe, hard, shidad, shadid. Aywa. يَأْكُلْنَ مَا قَدَّمْتُ لَهُنَّ, and these 7 years will eat whatever you stored. Because you stored for 7 years, now these years you're going to consume whatever you stored in the previous 7 years. So the 5 cows will be eaten by the thin cows. Understand? إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَحْسُدُونَ, except little bit which you're going to save. And then after these 14 years, so 7 years, they're going to cultivate, 7 years they can eat. And then that 1 year, subhanAllah, there will be no barakah. ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ عَامٌ, then a year will come. فِيهِ يُغَاثُ النَّاسِ, يُغَاث, a lot of rain. People get a lot of rain. Such that crops will grow, fruits will grow. There will be ample amount of fruit and crops. وَفِيهِ يَعْصِرُونَ, to such an extent people will take juice out of the fruits. Do you know when there's a lot of fruit, that is when you take juice out. If you are struggling with food, you're gonna take the juice out. You're gonna eat the whole fruit because you're gonna starve to death. But when there's a lot of fruit, ample amount of fruit, then you know you've got enough to eat and enough to extract juice. So Sayyid Yusuf alayhi salam said that a year will come after that in which people have a lot of fruit, so much that they will be able to take out fruit juice from the fruit. You know, the asr means to squeeze. Asir mutaqad in Egypt. That's why asr, Salatul Asr is known as asr. Because literally, if you look at the sun, it's as if the sun has been squeezed into the earth. That's what it says, asr, to squeeze. Now, Muqtab ran quickly to Rayyan the king and said, this is the interpretation. And was amazed by this interpretation. It is true. Yeah. He agreed to this read. So the king said, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ أُؤْتُونِ بِهِ, bring him to me. The prisoner, you said, who's in prison for 12 years, call him over. I want to meet him. And I want to hear from his own mouth the interpretation of this dream. So then Mukha went the second time. Now this time he went with few people to welcome, to release Yusuf alayhi salam. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ Rasul, when the messenger came, Yusuf said, no, I don't want to be released. Not like this. There are people out there, they think I have committed a crime. That I need to first, before I come out, I need to clear the air. People need to know I'm innocent. So he said, "Irji' ila rabbik." Go back to your king. I tell your king to call those 40 women. And Zulaykha, call all the women in the palace. فَاسْأَلْهُ مَا بَالُ النِّسْوَةِ الَّتِي قَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنَّ. And ask the king to ask the women about what happened when they were cutting their hands. What was the state? Why did they cut their hands? Was it me who committed the crime, or was it I'm innocent? Inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim. Indeed, my Lord knows, He's aware of the kayd, of the cunning, of the enticement. So what happened? Rayyan, he called all the women. After 12 years, after 12 years, even they became, some of them became old. But nevertheless, they all came. And king said to Zulaykha, you say the other room, so that they're not embarrassed, okay, to say the truth. And then king asked, قال ما خطبكم إذ راودتم يوسف عن نفسه. What was the state when you tried to entice Yusuf alayhi salam towards himself? You tried to trap him towards haram. قل حاشا لله. The same words they used the first time when they looked at Yusuf alayhi salam. Again they said here, حاشا لله. Purity is for Allah. ما علمنا عليه من سوء. We do not see, we do not find any evil from his side. He's innocent. And then when Zulaykha heard all the women, they have all agreed that Yusuf alayhi salam is innocent. She came out and said, now there's no point in me hiding and hiding the truth. قالت امرأة العزيز, the wife of Aziz, she came out. And she said to King Rayyan and the people out there in the palace, الآن حصحص الحق. Now the truth has become apparent. The truth has come out. أنا راودته عن نفسه. I am the one who tried to entice him, tried to trap him, invite him towards haram. وإنه, and she herself agreed. وإنه لمن الصادقين. In the Yusuf alayhi salam is from the Sadiqin, the truthful. He's truthful. He's innocent. And why? Now when the people went back, now the king, when he agreed that Yusuf alayhi salam is innocent, he sent an army, horses, his men, with his king robe, royal robe, to give to Yusuf alayhi salam to come back to the palace. So they all went. Now this is the third time Mukhalab is going, with a group of men, with horses, to welcome Yusuf alayhi, to release him and to welcome him to the palace. And what happened, inshallah, tomorrow? How he released and how the king welcomes him and how he sits on the throne and what he does and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now blesses him. He becomes the minister and later on he becomes the king of Egypt. Inshallah. Now it's Mafil Durushat, inshallah, if you can sit. Jazakallah khair.
Ya Allah.